Speaker, the Democratic Alliance acknowledges that the Department of Environment received an appropriation of 646,635 for the 2026-27 financial year. On paper, that sounds substantial. When measured against the scale of the environmental crisis facing Gauteng, this budget is wholly inadequate, and the people of this province will bear the consequences. Let me begin with climate change. Gauteng is already experiencing the impacts of a warming climate, intense rainfall events, prolonged heat spells, and increased runoff, flooding infrastructure that we can barely afford to maintain. The budget for environmental policy, planning and coordination, which houses climate change and management, amounts to just 45 million in 2026-27. That is less than 7% of the total vote. The Climate Change Management Sub-Programme receives a mere fraction of that. We are told the Department will implement a climate change school awareness programme, review the overarching climate response strategy, and collaborate with the Premier's Expert Advisory Committee. These are process activities. They are not interventions that will protect communities from the next flood or the next heatwave. Gauteng deserves a funded, implemented climate action plan, not a revision of one. Honourable Speaker, I turn to air quality. The Environmental Quality Management Programme received 83 million in 2026-27, down significantly from 130 million in 2025-26. Let that sink in. In a province that is the highest greenhouse gas emitter on the African continent, we are cutting the budget for air quality management. Gauteng's industrial heartland, Ekurhuleni, the West Rand and the Southern Johannesburg corridor continues to expose residents to dangerous levels of particulate matter, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide. Children in these communities suffer higher rates of asthma and respiratory illness. Yet ambient air quality monitoring stations in these priorities areas remain insufficient, under-resourced and in some cases totally non-functional. The budget before us does nothing meaningful to change that. Honourable Speaker, I now turn to what is perhaps the most urgent environmental failure in Gauteng today, which is sewage. Raw sewage continues to pour into our rivers. The Moraletta Straits, the Henops River and the Crocodile River all continue to receive millions of litres of untreated effluent from collapsing municipal infrastructure. The Percy Stewart wastewater treatment works in Mogale City threatens the Cradle of Humankind, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Tshwane's green drop score collapsed from 82% to 33.8%. These are not isolated incidents. This is systemic failure at the municipal level, and this department has both the mandate and the obligation to intervene. Yet we examine the compliance and enforcement programme, we find a budget of 57 million, 30 criminal investigations targeted for referral to the NPA, and 270 compliance inspections planned for the entire province. For a province with dozens of wastewater treatment works in chronic non-compliance, that is not enforcement, that is mere window dressing. The environment does not vote, but the people whose health, water and livelihoods depend on it do. We will be watching. Thank you.